Anyone who watches Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super can probably take some very educated guesses as to who the strongest characters in Sparking Zero are. Ultra Instinct Goku, Jiren, Beerus, Whis, Vegito, Gogeta, etc. And while all those characters are very strong, one very surprising name that's being thrown around as one of the best characters in the game is actually Yajirobe.
Man, why do I gotta do all this fighting stuff?
Let's talk about what makes this Bean Boy such a nightmare to deal with in online play.
I'm gonna make this count. Hey, I won! Dinner's on you!
Let's get this out of the way. When we're talking about Yajirobe being a strong character, it's exclusively for DP battles, which is a mode that assigns each character a point value, DP, that estimates their relative strength and then lets you assemble a team of up to 5 characters that must have a total DP of less than 15. Yajirobe is a 2-point character, which is the main reason why he's so good. You can fill your team up with fairly strong characters and then slot Yajirobe in the last slot to hit the maximum of 15 points. Sure, he's slow, he can't fly, he doesn't have a beam blast, and he just throws rocks as his basic key attack. But his health is the best among the other 2-cost characters, outside of full-powered Master Roshi. His attack power isn't terrible, he comes into the match with 2 skill points already built up, he's able to use Super Unyielding Spirit as a last resort to quickly enter Sparking mode, and get a damage buff for just 3 skill stocks, and most importantly, he's got arguably one of the best skills in the game, Senzu Beans. The Senzu Bean skill is so strong in Sparking Zero because it's the only skill that offers full health restoration, with the only drawback being its expensive cost at 5 skill counter stocks. Even Jiren's meditation, which requires him to stand still for far longer, only restores 20% of his life. Since Yajirobe tags in with 2 stocks already built up, it isn't extremely difficult to keep Yajirobe alive long enough to build up those 5 stocks. Then all it takes is a single touch or reversal to get enough space to eat the Senzu Bean, and boom, you've got a full health Yajirobe to deal with again. In a one-on-one situation, that's not a huge deal. 5 skill counter stocks is a lot to spend, even if it's on a full heal. But consider that, after that, your opponent brings Yajirobe's health down again, and before they can finish him off, you tag him out. Now your teammate comes in who's had plenty of time to rest and recover, leading to a potential strategy of attrition. Where this gets really strong is in a team of 5, where you cycle between your characters basically as much as you can, chipping away at your opponent's life little by little between all 5 of your characters. You want your strongest character at point, ideally a 5-point character like Goku from Super, who can transform into a 7 or 8-point character, so you can still have something to fall back on if you need some heavy firepower. Always keep an eye on the tag icon, because if you take any kind of substantial damage, you can switch your character out and let them restore life while they're not being used. Eventually, you'll get to Yajirobe, who you can try and let stay in a bit longer since you can use Senzu Beans once you hit 5 stocks. By the time you go through your other 4 characters, and essentially 2 Yajirobes, when you switch back to your point character, you should have recovered a considerable amount of life and can do this whole thing over again. This strategy makes it very difficult for your opponent to maintain a lead over you, and if the timer runs out and you still have the most life added up between all of your characters, you'll take the win via timeout. It's not a glorious way to win, but it is nonetheless an extremely effective strategy.
Yeah, how do you like that? You know who else can tussle with a great Yajirobe? Nobody.
Now let's talk about some counterplay. If you see your opponent switch to Yajirobe, priority number 1 is, obviously, don't let him eat his bean. His basic key attack is garbage, so he can't really fight back if you play the mid-range game against him, and will be forced to commit to a Dragon or Z-Burst Rush, which, if you can scout, can be sidestepped and punished. Keep an eye out on his skill count meter, and when you see it hits 5, do not let up on pressuring him. Use Ki Blast to interrupt him the second you see him reach into his pocket to pull out a bean, or if you're very far away, instantly use a Z-Burst Dash to try and stop him before he finishes the animation. It takes about 2 seconds for him to eat the bean, but if you touch him at any point before the animation finishes, he won't regain the life. Be careful about launching into rush attacks, as all it takes is 1 successful super counter or vanish counter for him to get enough space and time to eat the bean. It turns out that Bandai Namco has taken notice, and is promising a nerf to Yajirobe's stats in the future. We'll see whether that takes him down a peg or nerfs him into oblivion, but for now, you should still expect and be ready to deal with plenty of Yajirobe players, especially as you get deeper into Sparking Zero's rank mode. Thanks for watching, and for more Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, make sure to check out our combat guides and head over to our ever-growing wiki on IGN.com. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.
I like fighting you. It reminds me of how I can still improve.